guys, this is what I'm seeing. So we're discovering all this disgusting corruption. And then it's like the people up top are like, oh, they're getting close. Go get Diddy! Right? Right? Talk about Mexican deportations.
Fire the lasers.
Right? Fire the lasers. Bring out the drones. Talk about the transgenders. Bring out Kendrick Lamar and the symbolism. It's like
distractions.
Distractions. Makes you wonder though, if there's that level of corruption in this country, can you imagine how much we as a country would be thriving if we got it under control?
Reyes on the humble show. Yeah, we all in. Yeah, we all in. So grab your boys now, cause you know we all win. Lift your hands up.
Government corruption at an all-time high. The most controversial Super Bowl ever. And Sam Altman and Elon Musk publicly going at each other's heads. Welcome back to the All In Podcast, where the truth is unedited. I am your host, or one of your hosts, Carlos Reyes, here with the usual suspects right across from me. It's the most interesting man in the industry, Mr. Zaidi! To his right, another usual suspect, Mr. Born Closer, aka Adrian Salgado. And to my left, my business partner of over a decade, Mr. Sal El Cerebro Shakir.
Hey.
Fellas, welcome back to the show. A lot going on in the world, huh?
Yeah.
A lot going on in the world, and we can no longer hide from it.
Oh, yeah, and we could talk about it, and we're not.
It's all over. I mean, it's everywhere.
It's game over for the Swifties.
The Swifties. Yeah. What? Can you believe Taylor Swift got booed?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever seen Taylor Swift get booed.
Yeah.
I've seen Kanye West get booed because of Taylor Swift. See what I'm saying? Like,
true.
I cannot believe Taylor Swift got booed. Well, it is what it is. I mean, I don't even know. I don't listen to her music or anything. What?
MAGA is unforgiving.
Let's talk about that for a second, right? Let's talk about MAGA, and let's talk about the government, and let's talk about everything that's coming out to light right now, and the distractions, and and the deceit, and
division,
misleading. What do you got? What are you guys seeing? Because, dude, I mean, you got USAID. Jesus, dude, you would talk about spending, like wasting hard-earned taxpayers' dollars. USAID, disgusting. And then it makes you wonder, how long has this been going on?
God, wow.
And how much money has been burned in the fire?
Well, this is what we're all talking about, the USAID, and they're spending all this money. By the way, this is just one.
This is the top layer.
This is just one of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's probably hundreds of other entities or organizations that have wasted money. They're just starting with this one. They're warming up.
They were talking about how Doge found that there is no system to recognize that people are using the same social security number when they're giving out social security benefits. And then also, there's no system to say, hey, this person died because they're 150 years old. So there's like people right now that are 150 years old that are getting social security checks.
Who's
cashing them?
Who's cashing those checks?
Who's approving? That's what I'm saying.
Bro, can you imagine? Our government, okay? It's either so corrupt or so neglectful or so ignorant.
All three.
That it's sending out checks to 150-year-olds that are on Social Security.
They're so profitable.
And the weird thing is that people are fighting against this coming to light. Like, we're all on the same team. We're all taxpayers. We're all getting ripped off. Like, why are people fighting against us?
I've seen that.
Money?
So here's to answer the question, right? You said, how long has this been going on? Probably since the first president. Because
George Washington.
Yeah, I'm sure there was mismanagement of money, and people were getting paid under the table.
Kind of fattening his pockets a little bit here, a little bit of land.
And over and over it continues, and more people get involved, and more companies get involved. The only reason now that it's coming to light is because you now have somebody that was not born and raised as a presidential candidate, right? Or that wasn't raised to be in government. He was raised as a businessman that happened to get an opportunity to be in government and so now he's like, as a business owner, Sal, if I gave you a business and I said, hey, go take a look to see where you can make this more efficient, what's the first thing you're going to do? Where's all the money going?
Financials. Yeah, financials. Yeah.
Right. So the fact that he's doing it, he probably started doing this his first term, which the term drain the swamp started coming out, right? But they started tossing so much things at him, and then they threw a pandemic at him that he didn't have enough time. Plus, he didn't have the support around him.
He didn't have trusted people.
Yeah, he didn't have the support around him, the trusting people to go out and try to figure this stuff out, right? So he had to deal with what's coming at him first with putting all this stuff on the back burner.
Hey, it's Carlos Reyes. Thank you for watching the show. If you own a business and you need help scaling that business and you're ready to work with myself and my business partner, Sal Shakir, that way we can come in and help you with your systems, your processes, your marketing, your sales, your leadership, your culture building, your core values, right? Everything that your business needs right now to get it to the next level. Very simple. All you got to do is text the word coach to 623-292-7575, and we'll get with you as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. Now back to the show. He's going hard. Like they're going, like the speed. I've never seen people move at this speed in the government.
Yeah, seriously.
I thought you said it's just
Sal?
at this speed. I was like,
right? So it makes you wonder, right? How long haven't we been for years and years wondering, like, dude, how does it really pay to be a politician? Right? When people walk in there, they're making, a six-figure salary, but then they hold on, let me finish, right? Yeah. But they walk in there, they make a six-figure salary, and then next thing you know, they walk out and they're worth $100 million, and you wonder, how did that happen so quick, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think people knew about hemorrhaging money. They just didn't know how it was stolen. I think now we're finding out the how. And most of the stuff that they're talking about, the LGBTQ checks that are going to other countries, and it's probably just a front.
Yeah.
Maybe some of that stuff, partially is true, but most of it is just a front where they can fatten their pockets. So the money.
You think there's money laundering happening?
Oh, heck yeah.
Or like
Allegedly.
CIA operations that are.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah. Like that's another angle that it might be some. What if there are some CIA operations that has to happen between other countries, and this is just the other side of the.
So this is like maybe this is what they call the deep state or the good old boys club or the top of the food chain. Right? Like they're all in cahoots. Like he just said something that I've never even thought of, and it makes sense. It's like, they're getting closer on our tail. Let's throw the pandemic. You see what I'm saying, right? You see like these black swan events where it's like, oh man, they're starting to, they're starting to dig in a little bit. They've penetrated our fort, right? Our shield. Let's throw something in there to have them back up a little bit, right? Now, I mean, it's full throttle right now with everything that's going on.
True, but just to highlight them, what we're saying earlier is, what if we've seen some TV shows and some movies that there are some CIA operatives that they operate in other countries to prevent wars with those two countries or world wars.
Yeah,
some of that stuff probably has to go through these channels as well.
I get it.
So
Absolutely.
not 100% of those claims go into these ridiculous things or the ridiculous claims, but you have to wonder and say, what portion of that is true?
So you're saying that
50%? Is it 80%? Is it 90%?
So you're saying that the hundreds, thousands of dollars, possibly millions of dollars, no, just that we're spending yearly on K-cups for the coffee filters in government buildings that are vacant is code for maybe some sort of like ammo or something going somewhere.
It could be, remember, so CIA operatives cannot, this is all like secretive, right? So they can't say, oh yeah, we paid for a safe house in this country.
Right.
They can't talk about these things. So they might have to disguise it under things like that.
Coffee pods.
Yeah, but coffee pod would work. I would rather do that over the
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But I don't think that's 100% there. It's a portion of that. I believe there is a portion of that.
But that's how it can, that gray area, things can get lost really quickly.
Yeah, but you could still be secretive in a line item and just say, covert CIA mission. You know what I'm saying? You don't say where it is, but at least we know the money is going to something for national defense.
You would think though, you would think, you know, if that was the case, I think there's better ways to code it. Because if you say, like, according to, you know, one article I'm reading here, the U.S. government spends in excess of $20 billion a year conducting experiments on animals. We recently spent over $1 million to find out if female rats are receiving testosterone therapy. Like, I don't know, bro. I think there's better code names or, you know, right, code covers out there than how about the other one?
Why is it PETA and outrage?
What's this? How about $2 million to fund trans-led organizations to deliver gender affirmation healthcare in Guatemala? Like, these are gonna raise, right? These are going to raise flags, Sal. Like, if you are being secretive, you might want to stay away from the transgender rats. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see, that's like, oh man, $2 million to the transgender rats. What's going on there? You know, someone's gonna look.
It's kind of funny to think about it, though. Like, not even a few months ago, that was not that crazy to the former government or the former presidency that we had. That's not crazy to say these things. So it was just like, that's another. The K-cup and that it's the same. In the same category.
I'm so glad the election turned out the way it did, man. I mean, we'd be talking about something completely different right now, bro. And I'm sure none of us would be happy.
Makes you wonder, though, if there's that level of corruption in this country, right? Can you imagine how much we as a country would be thriving if we got it under control? Probably. Can you imagine? Like, right? The income taxes and, you know, poverty and homelessness, right? And, you know, can you imagine if we really were running efficiently as a country?
Yeah, wow.
What would that do to every single citizen in this country?
All
330 million people that live in this country. Like, what can we do with the billions and billions and billions of dollars that's being spent on God knows what, right? And then Sal and I were having this conversation last night. If you take a look at some of the, you know, most powerful countries in the past or empires, right? This is how they fell, and it wasn't overnight. It wasn't 1 year or 10 years. It was hundreds of years of running at this level of corruption.
Yeah.
Rome being one of them, Mexico being another. Did you know, right, that there was a sitting president, I think it was Porfirio Diaz in Mexico, back before the revolution, the Mexican Revolution started. He decided to just, what would you say, casually? He decided to just reelect himself 8 straight terms for in excess of like 30 years.
Jeez.
See, that's government corruption.
He must be loved.
He loved himself. Yeah, he loved himself. Yeah, right. So that's government corruption to the fullest. And then, you know, and then you got everything that's going on here, like, you know, the whole deal that went down with the Santa Ana Treaty, where, you know, Mexico had to give up, you know, the Southwest region to America. Who knows what was going on there?
Backdoor
you know,
deals,
right?
yeah.
By the way, Mexico sold the Southwest region to America for what would now be considered $15 million.
Yeah, at least it's
Texas,
not $1.
Arizona, California, right? Right. So what I'm saying is, you know, Mexico, it took over 100 years to get to the state that it's at right now. Okay, here, let me just say this, right? We as Mexican Americans, do we lack work ethic? No. We don't. We don't, right? So then if you take a look at, okay, because everybody's always like, well, if you work so hard, why don't you go back to Mexico and work, right? Well, because the government is corrupted.
There's no future.
They're like, no matter how hard you work, you're not going to get anywhere unless you're part of the good old boys club. You get what I'm saying? Right? So again, if you think about it, look at even moderately in the 1900s and the 2000s, the PRI, right? The Revolutionary Institutional Party of Mexico, bro, they were in power for 70 straight years.
Damn.
Can you imagine the potential level of corruption there?
I was gonna mention something. And what you just said, it just kind of like amplified it. If you stay in power long enough, I don't care who you are, you're gonna get corrupt, bro. Unless you're Yeshua, you're gonna get corrupt. So if a politician is in office for 80 years, 70 years, 60 years, they're gonna get corrupt. If we flush these people out and you could only be a politician for 4 years, 8 years, it'll die down. But until that is solved, we're never gonna really solve the corruption. Man.
You know what, guys? There's a great awakening happening right now in this country. There's a great awakening, and this great awakening has probably been hundreds, centuries in the making. And now I understand. I didn't really understand. I understood Drain the Swamp. Oh, there's a couple bad characters. They've been in power for 30 years, 50 years. It's all coming full circle now. It's all making sense. Right? It's all making sense.
All of it comes out too. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
I don't know how much can be caught in 4 years, and I don't know who's willing to step up in 4 years and, take the wheel.
Well, that's why you're seeing people, they're almost like they're dancing. They're scared. They're all coming out of the swamps, and they're making these shows, and the Elon Musk is making his gangsters richer, and the claims doesn't even make sense. He's trying to save everybody money, so the claim itself is contradictory.
But here's the reality of the situation. You have judges, right? So judges have forced Trump's administration to not do the freeze. But here's the thing. So they're like, all right, well, we're going to undo the freeze. And then after the court case, when I rule on it, then you could do the freeze. But this guy could just sit on the case for 4 years. So they're pumping out all that money. And then in 4 years, when Trump's out, they'll be like, oh, yeah, you're right. All right, let's do the freeze. So there's always going to be that opposition. They're not going to keel over, especially if they're a part of getting money. Like if there's people in government, I'm not going to say their name, but they're associated with donkeys. If they're getting money, side money, why would they allow this to stop?
But you just said it. You just said it right now, right? Everybody, if you're in the game long enough, you can be influenced.
Yeah.
And now with the party that's in place, playing devil's advocate, right? I looked the day of inauguration, and I looked to see the people that were standing up there. You have the richest people in the world with all the money and all the influence that can literally probably influence anybody at any time to do whatever they say.
Yeah.
So, it's to give that type of power to individuals, to a handful of individuals, that is a little bit scary as well too.
Well, watch this, right? Here's what he was saying earlier, what Zadie was saying earlier about how people are focused on the wrong things. Here we are uncovering all this corruption, right? And allegedly money laundering. And then you got Congress people protecting those people that are close to getting discovered. They're throwing people like Congressman Greg Casar. He's coming out saying, how much does Elon Musk make from the government a day? $8 million. How much does a senior on Social Security get a day? $65. And then it's like, so guess which budget Musk and Trump want to cut? You see, it's this let's fight back with BS, and then the sheep, right? The people are like, well, that's not fair. I was like, no, you know what's not fair, right? The $20 billion that we just spend on animal, transgender research, that's not fair, right? The $50 million that we sent to Gaza, Mozambique in Africa, that's not fair. Not Gaza, obviously in the Middle East region, Gaza in Africa. It's like, dude, we're not here to save everybody. When are we going to start putting America first? When are we going to put America first? And believe it or not, whether people want to admit this or not, because there's a lot of hate. Everybody, there's people, every time I put a post up on Facebook or something, they always come after the big bad orange man. They cannot see past the big bad orange man. They're focused right there. Not all the, the alleged money laundering, not all the, the everything that's going on with the government and the corruption, everything that's happening. We haven't even begun to dig into the Pentagon. Jesus Christ.
This Trump derangement syndrome has manifested into Elon derangement syndrome.
Now they're after Elon, right?
Yeah, was guilty by association.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
bro,
it's
I love how
contagious.
cool
That's
Elon
why,
is though. Have you seen, like, that's a man
Bro.
that was built for this.
Did you see what he did? He changed his
He had
Twitter
his son.
handle.
No, hold on. He had his son with him. His son's on his head.
Yeah, that
Here
was
he
dope.
is
That was cool.
addressing the world.
Yeah.
Casually just has his son, and he's like, hey, I'm sorry about that, guys. Call me out for it. I got the wrong one. I got the wrong, wrong Gaza. I'm not going to bat, 100. I'm not going to bat 10 for
That's right,
10. I'm going to make mistakes, but here's the goal. The goal is the American people have spoken and they want reform. That's all. This is one of the smartest. This guy is a human algorithm, guys.
Facts.
That's true.
He's a human algorithm.
Sal on steroids.
Bro,
no, man, that guy is admirable.
He's out of this
He
world.
changed his Twitter handle to Harry Balls.
Oh my God.
And then just to get the news to talk about it. And then CNN, they're like, Elon Musk, or now known as Harry Balls. And then he started laughing and he changed it back. He goes, I got him to say Harry
bro,
Balls.
I am so sick of it, right?
So
Like,
funny.
listen, guys, this is what I'm seeing. Okay. Just please bear with me. All right. So we're discovering all this disgusting corruption, the gunk, right? And then it's like the people up top are like, oh, they're getting close, right? Go get Diddy, right? Hey, right? It's like, oh, they're getting close, right? Talk about Mexican deportations. Musk is getting too close.
Fire the lasers.
Fire the lasers. Bring out the drones. Talk about the transgenders and equality. Like, you see how bring out Kendrick Lamar and the symbolism. It's like
Distractions.
distractions. And
At its finest.
by the way, oh my God, bro, PSYOP, like psychological operations at the highest level, where I would say, it's very easy for a human being to be like, oh, okay. Like, just be easily distracted and not even know what's in front of them, like what's really going on.
But it's just like a Pfizer commercial where you have like a kid beating cancer. Like, even if this is a piece of shit company, nobody is going to feel some type of way and criticize a commercial with a child that's beating cancer. So that's how they get you.
Yeah.
It's like they emotionally get you. You're like, oh yeah. But then we don't forget
They're
the
not so
shady
bad.
shit that they've done.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did they have an ad in the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
as
that's
well?
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It was
that's
a,
one.
Yeah,
it was
that's
a
one
kid
of the
with the. It
ads.
was a kid with the LL Cool J
Boxing, yeah.
song. Yeah, I'm gonna knock you out, like knock out cancer. Pfizer's gonna knock out cancer, and knock out your teeth with this jab. Oh wow, they call it the jab, and you knock out teeth with the jab. So hey, that makes sense.
Yo, here's how you know things are getting out of
crazy.
control. Guys, these people, what do you call these? Not rhinos, but these people that have been in
Donkeys.
there. These people that have been in there for like 30 plus years in the government, right?
Oh,
I don't
the
know.
general term for all of them.
What do you call them?
Oh, I call them Democrats, but I don't know. Ja 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 ja. Ja, 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 ja.
Why do you continue to laugh like that?
Don't Mexicans pronounce it J-A-J-A instead of H-A-H-A? Right? Ja, 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 ja. I saw it in text messages.
Yeah, it's true. All
Ja,
right.
ja, 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 ja.
That
So-
settles it.
Did you guys see? I don't know if he was like some form of media representative, a guy named Nick Sorto, right? He asked Elizabeth Warren. He goes, "Hey, Elizabeth, how did you achieve a $12 million net worth on a $200,000 annual salary?" And she just like she's just like avoiding and denying, and like they're coming hard for these people.
Yeah.
It's all coming out.
They're coming hard now. I think that they're going to begin to investigate politicians, aka public servants, who have really high net worth. I think that's where they're going to start with some of these
That'd be
individuals.
epic, man.
That's going to be insane.
I wonder if anything's really going to change though, because again, bro, the other side is like you have the people that hate the orange man. So anything he says, they're going to go opposite. Like just anything.
Eventually, in time, logic will will be logic. I think people will be logical at some point. You have enough evidence. Somebody has to face the logic. Whether you like the guy or not. I mean, the guy is hard to listen to. Let's call it what it is. Guy is really hard to listen to, but the things that he's doing, he's saying, has some truth. So take the truth, eat the fruits and spit the seeds, right? If you don't like the guy, continue not to like him, but listen to the facts.
Right, yeah, I agree, yeah.
Elon Musk, you can hate on Elon Musk, but he's only exposing what just happened. The money has been spent, by the way. It's not like that we're going to recuperate. If we were going to recuperate, maybe we can recuperate a fraction of a percent of that, which I doubt. But the money has been spent. All they're trying to do is to stop the spillage,
the bleeding,
to stop
yeah. They said that a bunch of government checks were sent out, Social Security checks, USAID ID checks, like Pentagon checks, and it doesn't say the memo, like what it's going to, and it doesn't say like any other information. It just says like the money, you know, or sometimes the name isn't even there. It's just like a blank check being sent out. So it's like, that kind of makes me think like, yeah, maybe CIA operative kind of stuff. But yeah, like imagine you're trying to audit and you look at checks and there's no name. Like, how do you audit that, bro? Like, what do you audit?
There's always paper trail. There's always paper trail, whether it's confidential. Maybe it's confidential. Maybe it'll come out there with certain judges are able to probably pull to verify those.
You're saying where like that check was deposited?
Well, yeah, I'm sure there's always paper trail. And if it doesn't say something, there might be confidential, and they have to go an extra mile to retrieve those. If not,
here's another one. Ready? What about the $59 million that was sent for luxury hotels in NYC for illegal immigrants?
Oh.
That FEMA, was just recently caught, and it was returned back to FEMA. But how disgusting is it though, right? How can you not be upset as an American? You're sending $59 million for luxury hotels in NYC, New York City, right? To house illegal immigrants, but then a major disaster hits in North Carolina and you sent them $700 some.
So the hotels.
How does that even make sense?
So the hotels that they were staying at were owned by Pakistan. So this was like part of a program to help stabilize Pakistan. So it's like, that's sort of like what's going on, you know, like why they did that. But again, that should go to U.S. citizens, not Pakistan.
Does that put America first?
No, of course not.
It's a simple question.
Here's another thing that they're saying, right? This is all like, I'm telling you, dude, it's insane. Everything that's coming out, right? Ready? More than 67% of Americans, right? We can't read past like a third grade level or something, right? And supposedly $82 billion a year is being spent on education by the Department of Education.
Educating what?
Like, well, hello, like we still, we're not very educated. So what are you spending the $82 billion on?
You're trying to teach.
Who are you educating? Who are you educating?
I mean, but it trickles down. Just like here in Arizona, there's a school district that's on the verge of shutting down completely because of mismanagement of funds as well too. So it's like, it happens at all levels.
Yeah.
Where there's money, there's corruption. I mean, let's
exactly.
settle it
There's
like
humans.
that.
Where there's humans, there's corruption.
Yeah.
So where do you guys think this will head here in the next week or two, or maybe because it's moving fast? I can't even see.
We're 3 weeks in.
I know. I can't even see a year or two.
Yeah,
this thing's moving fast. Where do you guys think it'll go?
I think that there's more shit, excuse my French, is going to come out, and the opposition has to do what they have to do, and they can continue to slander, and they're going to try to throw stones and hope one of them would stick. That's what's going to happen, and I think Elon and Trump are going to continue to do what they have to do.
They better have some good security around them.
I think
security, but if they make it public, if everything is public, like the way they're doing, like they're doing it right now, as long as they don't change that strategy,
they can't.
They will win eventually. Yeah. This strategy is a winning formula. But if they get stopped somehow,
transparency. That's what Musk kept saying. Transparency. That's what he kept talking about yesterday.
That's what's going to win them.
But the opposition can fight back and just cater to the masses that are easily influenced and just start creating more entertainment, more distractions, more
Super Bowls.
more Super Bowls, right? Things like that. That's what it's, more rap beefs, more pop beefs, whatever it is.
Well, that's why we have shows like this where we expose the truth.
The truth is unedited.
So I think what's going to happen is we have to wait until it goes to the Supreme Court. So once the Supreme Court rules if that judge is justified in the freeze, because if they say it is, then they're going to come out. They're all going to come out and just try to freeze it. But if they shut down that judge, now there's a precedent. Now the floodgates are open. But up until that point, I don't think we're going to really break the dam. I think it's going to be stuck. Luckily, we have a conservative Supreme Court majority, so we'll see what happens, man. But I think it has to go there, bro, because they're gonna delay things as much as they can.
Well, you just can't make this stuff up, man. Allegedly also, right, the federal government sent $1.3 billion to deceased people, and those checks were cashed.
Who says you can't take your riches to the next to the afterlife, right?
Well, anyway, we'll see where this goes, but it's a wild time to be alive. Think about it. This is the first of its kind. Like this type of situation that's happening. If it's happened in the past, maybe we didn't hear about it or it was a very minute level. This is huge.
Bigly.
Right? So, all right, speaking of distractions, who watched the Super Bowl?
I turned it off after halftime.
I did.
What do you say sadly?
It was rough.
What, the game itself?
The game itself, the halftime show, it was kind of rough. I like that Taylor Swift got booed. I like that Trump was there. Those were great things.
What about the fact that Jesus' name was mentioned?
That was amazing. Yeah, that is amazing.
The winning head coach mentioned Jesus and thanked Jesus, right? That was amazing to watch.
Jalen Hurts?
No, the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles.
I know, but the quarterback said it was
Jalen Hurts, right? He's a big believer. Right. So it was beautiful to just see that because I remember last Super Bowl, right? I don't think we were even like they used to say he cares instead of like Jesus cares. You know what I mean? So there are some things that are beginning to change, right? Now, everybody's talking about the halftime show. I mean, no one's talking about the game. The game was a complete blowout, right? The Eagles dominated. The defensive line of the Chiefs, the defensive line of the Eagles just overwhelmed the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line. So Patrick Mahomes was running for his life the entire time.
And they blitzed like once.
But they were just that much better, I guess.
They were pressuring them.
Yeah.
They were so good that the game was not that enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they say that the game is won at the line, right? So, yeah, Mahomes was just, he couldn't do much. And, so everybody was talking about the halftime show. Some people loved it. Some people hated it. Everyone's talking about it.
Caused division for sure.
Yeah, but see, like the propaganda, and here we go again with the media, and like people fall for it so quick. It's like, it's they make it a racist thing or they make it a culture thing.
Yeah. Right.
There was symbolism. There was deep meaning behind a lot of the beyond and below the surface level of the music, right? That's what people miss. That went over people's heads too. You know what I mean? Right? As you guys know, Kendrick Lamar is a very creative, very conscious human being.
Genius.
And he literally is a genius in his own right. And everything was very strategic, the way that he did every single thing in the Super Bowl, right? From the PlayStation controllers, if that's what that was, right? To, the audience, with the game over and, everything that was happening throughout with Uncle Sam, right? Samuel Jackson.
I thought that was brilliant. Uncle
right?
Sam, Samuel Jackson.
He's Uncle Sam, right? So, there's a lot going on. And here's what I'll say from a marketing and promotional standpoint. It was the most watched halftime show in Super Bowl history, right? And everybody's like, well, he beat out Michael Jackson, right?
Damn,
they're like, well, Michael Jackson didn't have social media and YouTube. And it's like, hey, that's not what we're saying. Here's what we're saying. It was the most watch, Super Bowl. It was the most watch in Super Bowl history. 133.5 million people around the world watched Kendrick Lamar, right? 133.3 million people watched Michael Jackson. social media aside, we're just talking about eyeballs here and reach,
Yeah.
So again,
access to TV and to watch the Super Bowl back then when Michael Jackson
Yeah.
was alive is a lot harder than it is today.
Yeah.
For
I mean,
sure.
if he was around now, he'd
he probably got
crush
300
it.
million.
I get what you're
or something,
saying,
but that's
yeah.
not what we're
Eyeballs
talking
are
about.
eyeballs.
Yeah, eyeballs are.
Yeah, hey,
Doesn't matter how. Yeah.
that's what I was going to tell you. I mean, the Civil War would have been highly televised too. You know what I'm saying? But that's just not what it was back then. You know? See what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
or
good.
World War II in
Probably
color.
would.
You know, right? Like,
Would have
hey,
ended
we are
faster
where
for
we are
sure.
today. You know, right? So
Would've
yeah, let's
been
stick to what is. Everybody's always talking about. It's funny. Like people have a problem for every solution you give them. Right? It's like, hey, it was the most. Yeah, but Michael Jackson didn't have YouTube. That's not what we're saying here, right? We're just saying that it reached 133.5 million people, and whether you like the show or dislike the show, people watched it.
People were having a problem with Trump being there as well.
He got cheered.
He spent government money on that. How much did that cost?
Oh,
They're saying.
God.
Like now they're
Secret
going
Service.
after. They're,
Yeah, they're
They had a
people.
Secret Service
ridiculous.
commercial too.
So, you know what you begin to believe, right? Like people are saying, like with all this that's coming out, they're saying, oh, we're American slaves, like we're the slaves of modern society because of everything that's happening, right? But maybe that's why, because we refuse to look. We refuse to understand. We refuse to open up our minds. We refuse to open up ourselves to multiple perspectives. Maybe that's why we are where we are, because we would rather focus on Taylor Swift getting booed than the $20 billion, in funds being mismanaged.
or the beef between Kendrick and Drake.
Yeah.
Which was crazy as well. Like I thought that was kind of uncalled for. Like okay, you have a beautiful message. Why throw beef in there?
And here's the other thing I'll
sells.
say.
It's controversy.
This is how you know, by the way, this is how you know the propaganda machine.
It's a culture thing.
This is how you know the propaganda machine will take a thing and they'll turn it into a complete other thing that then now absorbs and sucks people in to just be going at each other, whether it's for a few days or a few weeks, maybe even a few months in some cases, depending on how good that thing is, right? But here's what I'm saying. Have you ever thought about the fact that maybe 50% of the people that watch the show, right, even if they were white, right, there's just a cultural difference and they just were like, you know what? I don't like that music. Boom. End of story.
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, how about the millions and millions and millions of people that black people that watched the Lady Gaga performance, they were like, oh my God, I don't like this music. And there was no more outside of that.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be MAGA versus the culture.
Yeah.
But people,
that's what they painted
but people
as,
make it that way, right?
This
It's not.
is the interest of this is how the psychology works, at least in the media. The media they can give you the truth, like the unedited truth of something, but it would not sell. So what do? They add some things in there, or they show you something where it gets a small group of people to talk, where they fight with other group of people. And that same fight would snowball to something bigger where it involves a bigger group of people to fight. And that's the media in the world. That is exactly how it works.
Well, and again, it went this whole Super Bowl and Kendrick Lamar and this whole thing that went over a lot of people's heads. There was a lot of symbolism behind it, right? People didn't see deeper than the genre of the music or the way people were dressed, or just, the folks that were used, right? The specific race that was used.
No white people, no Asians in the performances. Is that what you're saying?
Huh?
There were no white people or Asians or Hispanics in the performances.
I mean, they didn't even bring out Lefty Gunplay, which, in my opinion, thank you, Kendrick, for not bringing him out. No disrespect,
What's
Lefty Gunplay, but
that's over my head.
I don't know if it would have been worth it to bring you out for 4 words, right? What is it? Spooky. What is it he say? Delirious. What does Lefty Gunplay say?
Who's
Scary,
Lefty Gunplay?
spooky, something, delirious,
Crazy.
crazy, spooky.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's over my culo.
Can anybody find that real quick?
You should look him up, Sal, after this. You should listen
I'm
to some of
definitely
his
gonna look
music.
that up.
There you go. That's
There
what it is.
What is it?
Crazy, scary, spooky.
Crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious. You know, maybe they were like, you know what, we can do the show without the 4 words.
You know what's interesting? So a lot of people
Sal doesn't even know what's going on.
A lot of people were complaining about just the track list itself, or just the set list that he did, because it was everything from his newest album. But I was watching something earlier today, and they were talking about, had Kendrick performed some of his older stuff, more known stuff, it would have been. He was trying to monetize on it as much as possible. So if he would have performed some of his old stuff, the plays from his old catalog would have went up, and all those songs were part of that TDE, the TDE management. So he only gets a certain percentage. I think it's a much smaller percentage, something like 10, maybe 20%.
Yeah.
But this new album is under his record label.
Smart.
And as soon as he did that, all those songs got boosts in plays and stuff like that. Yeah. And that fed more of his pocket at the end of the day. Still fed people, but he got a bigger cut of the pie on this one.
As you should.
Yeah.
He's a businessman.
Because you know why too? You know why? They don't pay artists for the Super Bowl.
No,
the
they don't.
exposure is enough.
If anything, that sometimes the artist is, in many cases, the artist is out of pocket.
Yeah. Well, they give them a budget, and then some artists are like, "Nah, I need more," and then they just put more into.
Well, there's
budget.
been in the past, like The Weeknd, right? Like he paid $8 to $10 million out of his own pocket because he wanted to really deliver a show. But what the ROI, right? The return on that investment was astronomical.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So again. I don't know what we're talking about here, man. It's like, okay, The Weeknd has performed, Shakira has performed, right? There's been all kinds of different artists from different genres. It's like, dude, move on.
Who was your favorite?
Mine?
Super Bowl.
I don't know. I'm just I like good music.
I feel like you liked when Janet Jackson's titty popped out.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah, you talked about that
I was really young at that time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, mine was Prince.
Mine was Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson, yeah. Michael Jackson is a legend, bro.
How were you guys? What year was that?
Kendrick's pants are crazy, though.
The bell bottoms?
Bro, that was
symbolism.
You need to get bell bottoms.
You know what's funny? I used to have those back home.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, that was back home. That was a thing,
Really?
That was and my dad had I seen a picture with my dad. He had a big mustache, big old hair, back in the 70s, and he had those bell bottom pants, the tailored ones. But they were way bigger, like back, they used to do it big. But I mean, I think Kendrick is trying to bring these back. It just didn't look right. Maybe with the shoes too. Maybe it didn't look right with the shoes, but I could be out of this pop culture.
Once again, those shoes, they were sitting on shelves hours before the Super Bowl, and then afterwards they're sold out everywhere. He was wearing the Deion Sanders ones.
Oh, that's cool that he did that for Deion.
Yeah.
Can we mention just one little thing, and we don't have to dive deep. What the heck happened to Kanye West, man? I used to be a big fan.
He's just pushing, bro.
Pushing?
Yeah.
He's way beyond the lines, 80.
Yeah.
Like what you're doing to your wife, with
kids,
the see-through
kids, bro.
With the see-through shirts, what you're doing on X, you're way out of control. Like you're asking for something. You're out of it, dude. You're way out of it. And I I'm a guy that really respected the creativity of Kanye West in multiple aspects, But he's out of control.
I think he's desperate at this point. He's so desperate that he wants so much attention.
I don't even think it's the attention, Sal.
I think he's at war, bro. He's at war with
I think
Jews.
he's just a very conflicted human being at this moment.
Like he's at war, bro.
It doesn't make sense.
And he's been playing that
It doesn't make
line.
sense.
He's been walking that line, that thin line for a long time now. I mean, you remember what they did, what people did to him. They took, they took his net worth away. Adidas took hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, clearly he doesn't care about that, right? He didn't learn his lesson,
He got it back.
Yeah.
He did. He will always get it back because he's such a genius.
Well, think about what
knows
he's
the game.
seen, though. Think about what he's seen, conversations he's had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That people don't see. So I'm sure it's like all of that is harboring inside of him. And then you have like ego too. So he has to say something. He's not a little bitch to not say anything. So he's got to get it out.
His approach is totally wrong, though.
Yeah.
He's right though
I mean,
too. So
it's
you
not
mean you
Jesus
think
like
you think about people of that status and that influence, right? Some of them can't even make it this long. They just off themselves,
Yeah.
right?
True.
They just off themselves, and they're just like, it's just too much. Like everything that's going on is just too much. He doesn't have. He clearly is not looking to do that. So he's going to the extremes.
Yeah.
Is being relevant worth it? Like, is being relevant?
But I don't know if
worth-
does Kanye care about being relevant still?
Well, what would he do with these stunts? If not, move on. Then move
I
on,
think
and you
he's-
have nothing else.
No,
to
I think
show.
he's expressing himself in a very psychotic way.
I think he's. I think he's.
So that means
still,
he cares. He's psychotic about it. He cares about it so much that he doesn't want to let it go.
The swastika shirt was
was ridiculous.
That was like, that's crazy, bro.
Well, what he was saying about Jewish folks was way. I mean, that's way out of line. I get it, dude. Like
Nice.
you know, you're not really a big fan of Jewish folks,
Yeah,
powerful
don't
Jewish.
announce
I think
Like,
that's. I think that's where it stems from, right?
I think, I
you
think that's
said,
a lot of it.
Where
That's
he's
a lot of
where
it.
you talk about, right? He's at war, and it's because of everything he wasn't able to do from the beginning, right? From the record labels to the fashion industry
Yeah.
to
That's true.
things like that, and he constantly blamed.
For over 2
He
decades. now.
constantly
Like,
blamed
yeah.
that this regime would keep him under the thumb,
Yeah.
right?
You know,
and
Play
so he-
nice
and play
by
nice.
the rules.
And so now he doesn't
do as you're
want to.
told,
What's
right?
wild though, if you think about it, so when he was selling this swastika shirt, just think about this, right?
Nobody bought it, right?
But no, well, this is what I'm saying. Like, imagine racist people. Imagine racist people. Can't say
Yeah.
the word.
Yeah, we might have to cut
Okay,
that.
the funny
the,
star,
Max,
the
bleep
funny,
that out.
The S.
the funny logo that was a Buddhist symbol, and then Germany used it. So that logo that he's selling, imagine you have to be racist to buy that, right? To wear it, to actually wear it, right?
Yeah.
So imagine racist people might have bought that shirt and put money in a black man's pocket.
Mhm.
I mean, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty profound. So technically, how are you racist if you're supporting somebody that you claim to hate? So that's a mind trip, bro.
Now you're seeing the cup half full, but bro, the guy is going wild. He's saying things
of
like,
course,
"There's okay, yeah,
it's
sure, you
crazy,
can
yeah.
try to spin it off as like, oh yeah, he did something admirable. I think this is great."
I'm not saying
No,
it's
it's not.
admirable. No one is saying that. Don't be a Democrat. Put words in my mouth, bro. I'm not saying
You're
that.
trying to look at the cup half full. I can't find that half full at this
No,
point.
I just
maybe a
think
year
it's-
ago, I'm like, you know what? I feel bad. They're trying to kick a man while he's down. He's trying to get up, and you know what? Respect. Respect.
Yeah,
to
Yeah.
Kanye
it was
for
last
that.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It was a completely different story. Remember how much praise he was getting in the last Super
support.
Bowl?
Yeah, I don't think he has any support.
He spent what, $3 million on something like that?
7 million or
7 million on a
something.
30-second ad that he filmed on his phone.
And he crushed
the
And
it.
same
everybody
ad,
was
though.
like, oh,
His ROI.
He did the same kind of ad though.
He did. He kept saying that.
I think he might have done the
He
same
didn't
kind
even
of
say
thing.
Yeezy.com, bro. He didn't even say it this time.
No, he did. He said
Was
go
it
to
the same
easy.com.
one?
That's what he said.
Was it the same one?
No, it was
No,
he was
it's
he was
different.
getting his teeth done.
Okay, because last time it was in a car.
yeah, he was in his car.
Yeah. Anyway, hopefully he figures it out because I used to be a big fan, and now he's just a little out of control even for me.
Do you not even play his music now? Would you not play his music?
I don't really play rap music anymore, dude.
What about when he walked the line of Yeshua and he started making gospel music?
Yeah, I mean,
Would you
again,
even play
you
it
know,
now?
sometimes people just run their course, dude. You know, it's like, you know.
But would you play that music though?
I just don't play that music anymore.
I don't either.
It's gospel, bro. What do you mean?
We don't listen to
Gospel.
rap
Yeah,
music.
yeah.
And like low
It's
frequency.
gospel, bro. It's not rap. What are you saying? I'm saying he has gospel
I
music.
get it. Sorry, I
Would you
never
listen to that
went
too?
to. I'm sorry, bro. I never went to Kanye for gospel music. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. Like, he wasn't my first choice for gospel music. Okay, all right. You love his gospel music. Good for you. Yeah, good for you.
Especially now.
Like, get over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to go the last subject here on a lighter note. The Musk situation with Sam Altman and, you know, the war that's going on, the tech billionaire war that's happening. Like, what's your perspective on that?
I think first of all, it's entertaining to see that.
Very high level war, right?
Very high level, but it just tells you how simple it is. Like business 101 is
Yeah.
happening.
That
business 101
is war.
happened. Yeah, business
Well,
at
business
101.
is war.
It is
Right?
all the
Business
time.
is war.
Well, very well said.
Right.
Business 101 happening at the billionaires level, right?
At the top of the food
billions.
chain.
Right. So you see the fundamentals of business always happening. You see one company that is going to dominate, right? One other company that was going to dominate was Nvidia, right? Which after DeepSeek, they kind of their stock just plummeted.
Yeah, I saw.
Right. And that just tells you that when there is competition, like you might be thinking that you're on top of the food chain. just like Toys R Us did, just like Radio Shack did. Blockbuster. And then they went out of business, right? Because they thought they were the king of the hill and they don't need to do anything extra. Well, you have something like ChatGPT right now where Musk just went online and he clowned on them. He said, I will buy your company, Sam Altman, I'll buy your company for $97.4 billion, I believe. And Sam Altman says, no, thank you, but we will buy Twitter for $9.74 billion. So they just removed the decimal, and he offered him 10% what he offered him. And Elon Musk said, swindler. That was his reply to him, right?
Elon, Elon's kind of like, for being like a big tech billionaire nerd that some people would consider him. He's kind of a cool dude, bro.
He's a troll and
but he's so cool, like
cool dude.
Example, when he was being interviewed yesterday over, the findings that are happening, like he takes his hat off and he's like doing his hair and he's kind of having fun with it. And he's so smart. He's just so smart.
He just doesn't care what people think, bro.
Yeah, he's way beyond that. I mean, right. So again, time's gonna expose all. Right. Time is, time either promotes you or demotes you. And we'll see here in the next few years, God willing, we will be alive to see it, is, who were the good guys, who were the bad guys. As of this moment, clearly, we're definitely thinking that these guys, right, Musk and the big bad orange man are the good guys, because if you think about it, right, on one chair or in one seat, you have the most powerful man in the world. And then you have the richest man in the world. And they're both doing what they're doing with America specifically, right? And then it kind of, if you bring it all in, it makes sense from a holistic level. You got the most powerful man in the world, and then you got the richest man in the world, and they're going after corruption.
They're doing what they said they're going to do.
Batman and Robin.
It's like the Avengers.
Right? Or the Avengers.
No, but Tony Stark.
The Avengers of America.
They actually did whatever they said they're going to do.
That's true. They said it and they're doing it.
Yeah. Trump just released a hostage from Moscow.
You're not allowed to say that word. Big bad orange man.
Big bad orange man just released a hostage from Russia.
Yesterday I saw it. I was up till 11 p.m.
And he was
watching
with
that release.
You know what he said? You know what he did?
Promised his mom.
Because he promised his mom. They're doing what they said they're going to do. That's one of our core values is
do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it.
They're doing all the things that they said they're going to do. How can you hate on that?
You know what I loved about that specific situation, right? Find me the word of the teacher from Pennsylvania that was just released yesterday from. This guy was in Russia for 3 years, bro.
That's crazy, yeah.
He was a teacher there.
For having for medical marijuana.
I don't know what exactly it was. They were, I mean, they
released Brittany Griner before they released him?
Griner before they released him.
Yeah.
Well, she just became a father, so.
Good job, Biden. What? Brittany Griner just became a father?
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
we needed to get her home then.
Yeah.
Mark Fogel. Mark Fogel, you know what was amazing to see, by the way? I'm like, I'm going to stay up for this. I was falling asleep, right? But me and Vanessa, we're all, watching it is because, they're like, any minute, breaking news, any minute, Big Bad Orange Man is going to receive Mark Fogel, the Russian captive, he's going to come into the White House. And sure thing, right? He comes in, he has a huge America flag around his neck, and he's just so grateful, man. He's like, President, thank you for being a man of your word. The conversation started, you know what's wild? The conversation or the agreement of him going to get Mark Fogel out of Russia started in the same place where the assassination attempt took place.
Wow.
That's where he met his mom.
Wow.
And that's when the 95-year-old lady, was just like, can you get my son out of Russia? And he was like, huh? What? Okay. Yeah, let's get him out. And then it didn't even take him a month in office to get him out.
As a business person.
3.5 years, we couldn't get the guy out.
I think it's a great
3.5 years, we couldn't get the guy out.
I think it's a great way to open
the big bad orange man comes in and gets him out.
Can I talk now, bro?
Now you can.
Okay. I think it's a great way to open up communication, a reason to communicate with Putin for his ultimate goal, which is ending the war. So I think it's a good, segue. Sure. I mean, we got rid of this guy. We got him out of Russia. He kept his word. But at the end of the day, bro, It was to communicate with the guy who needs to come to the negotiating table. And now we have Mark Rubio going to Ukraine to talk to the other guy, Zelensky.
I think Mark Rubio's doing I knew he would, though. I think he's doing a great job.
I didn't like him, but I think he's doing
Yeah,
great.
back in the day, you know, we used to call him Little Marco. He's big Marco now.
He's definitely
Right?
big Marco.
Mark Rubio's big Marco now. Like, he's going down. He met with the El Salvador president, right? Brokered a deal there. I think he was involved in the Russia, you know, the Russia hostage Mark Fogel deal. Now he's going to Ukraine to broker another deal. The dude's
he's working,
getting some deals done.
Yeah,
Big
the Orange Man
Marco
puts
for the
people to work.
dub.
That's for sure.
For the dub.
Right? What'd you say?
So the Orange Man puts people to work. That's for sure, man.
Yeah. The big bad orange man. Now, here. Let me end it by saying this. You were saying that the big bad orange man is a great deal maker. Yes.
He's making the deal.
To become a billionaire, you have to be,
yeah,
right?
Like, whether you like him or not, you have to. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So why did he? I don't think there's much of a deal happening when 2 days ago he said he told Hamas you have till 12 o'clock noon on Saturday to release every hostage,
Well said.
or else all hell's gonna break loose. That wasn't much of a deal. That was just more of a
Statement.
maybe, I would say a statement.
I mean, I would call it a deal if I'm Hamas. Be like, we either do this
All
or
right,
we die.
here, we'll end it with that. Predictions on that statement. Okay, I'm gonna start with you, Zadie.
Oof. Okay.
Okay.
So I think they're not going to give hostages, and I think America sent more bombs to Israel. Now they're going to give them like cover in the world and let Israel destroy what's left. And then America is going to say, hey, by the way, we pay you so much money. We're not going to buy Gaza from you. You're just going to give it to us. And then he's going to broker a deal with Jordan and Saudi Arabia and Egypt, and they're going to help pay to make Gaza
Make Gaza great again?
Make Gaza great again. Yeah, I guess so. And what's crazy, which I don't know, is Palestinian people aren't going to be like, when you tell them like, oh, I go live over here, you'll live good, you'll live like shit over here. I don't think they care, bro. It's going to be like this is our land, and I rather live bad here than live like a king not on my land. You know, in their mind, it's their land. So I don't know how that's.
So
gonna
what would
work out,
happen
bro.
if?
I don't know how that's going to work out.
What would happen if the big bad orange man, you know, began to rebuild the strip?
Yeah.
Right. What would happen to the people that were displaced?
Well, they're not going to be able to afford that, so they have to be displaced, bro. They're going to be pushed out, which is going to cause a lot of problems. But again, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Egypt have to be on board for this to happen. So America isn't going to get any shit from the Muslim community or the Muslim world if they're on board, bro. So that's the thing, man. That's where I think he's going to get cover for those three countries. Then who's going to be mad at him? Like Iran?
Yeah.
You know, that's it. One.
Yeah.
So
What
that's
about
my
you?
prediction.
What do you think's going to happen with this situation?
I haven't done enough research to even develop an opinion over there, bro.
No, it's very simple. The big bad orange man said you either return the hostages by Saturday.
Oh, that?
I just went kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm
like,
pretty sure they're going to
You think
return
he's
the
going to hit it?
hostages.
You think he's going to hit a little red button?
No.
He's known for it.
They'll return the hostages.
You think so? Wow.
Okay. Well, by
I
the
hope
way,
you're right.
if they're alive.
That's
Right?
a different question.
Yeah. Sal, what do you think's going to happen?
I don't know. I think something in between is going to happen. Something in between, because that was like a pretty substantial threat, but the ceasefire wasn't just from there. Like that's more of a worldly thing. They agreed on a ceasefire, but the United States can influence something else. However, something in between, whatever that something in between is going to happen, is it going to be a fair thing or not? We don't know. Is it going to be the United States taking over that and giving the Palestinians their rightful thing, and then giving the Israelis their rightful, land as well, or like brokering a fair deal? I don't know, but we know that the United States has a lot of interest in Israel and vice versa. But Israel, Netanyahu himself was having a horrible time with his people because they want him out now because he's caused so much havoc in the past few years. So maybe Trump being a deal maker, he might have the stronger hand over Israel, and maybe Israel will be submitted or
Submissive?
will be submissive to Trump and give up something more. because they have a lot of money, a lot of money that comes from them here. Now he might use that to broker a deal where we make America a little richer.
Well, there it is.
What do you think?
Great. Was that?
What do you think?
Great. Bless you.
Thank you. Salud.
You know, I think that is, first of all, it's a great time to be alive. Second, you know, I feel like I don't think the big bad orange man has made a threat that he hasn't like actually moved forward with, right? So whenever he makes a threat, usually the other side gets serious, right? So we'll see what happens there. However,
Do you think they'll cave? What do you think will happen?
if they have them, right, they'll give them up if they have them, but you can't give up something you no longer have, you know what I mean? So we'll see how that goes. But here's what I'll say in the grand scheme of things. I'm not going to say the word entertaining. Okay. I don't want to say the word entertaining, but it's kind of amazing to just kind of sit back and watch, maybe because we're older and we now understand what's going on kind of, you know, to some degree, but to see all of these moving parts at the highest level, you know, of government and world leaders, right? It's kind of cool to see it all move because you learn from it. You learn the way things are done at the highest level, you know? And I think we're going to learn more, right? And there is a great awakening happening right now. And I think that this is going to change things for a very long time for everyone, right? Even for the people that are distracted, right? It's still gonna impact them in a positive way, even though they are resistant to it, right? So I don't think anything bad can come from what the government is doing right now, as far as, you know, making sure that we don't become Rome.
It feels like this is a new standard for a government.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're either on board or you're not going to be in the government. You know what I mean? So I don't want to become Rome for sure. So with that being said, right? Hey, if you loved, you know, what you're hearing, what you're watching, please do me a huge favor. Subscribe if you haven't. Share the show. And don't forget to comment. We love interacting with you guys. And we appreciate everything that you guys, you know, the way you guys show up every single week. The channel continues to grow because of you. So we just want to say we're very grateful. And do me a huge favor. Don't forget to tune in next week. Thank you.